baby animals, the grazers themselves would actually eat themselves out of existence. And there would be an enormously greater amount of pain and suffering on the entire population of those grazing animals if those predators didn't cull the herd. That's just one example. And I would say that each incidence of pain, suffering, what have you, in this case, frankly, we'll say that's not perpetrated by a evil, deranged individual. But in some cases, we can look at those things as well. But each one of those incidents has a greater design. And yes, even a natural disaster, as horrible as those things are, those have a greater design as well. And I'm not gonna venture to guess what greater design for each specific incidents are, but I will say they have a greater design. And their intent is for, we'll call it the overall good. Another reason why you should not look at these sorts of large scale, life, death, horror, suffering. You should not look at those things and come to the conclusion that this giant amount of negativity is evidence for no God. You shouldn't do that. And it's actually quoted in the Bible, in Genesis. Thy should not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil also translates as everything. So you should not eat from the tree of everything. You should not partake from the tree of everything. You should not, as a human with intelligence, but being a human being in this system, in the universe system, you do not have the ability to make a judgment about the system as a whole, which you are a part of, which you effect. Okay? And that's just one verse in the Bible. Thou shalt not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that's what that means. You should not make the ultimate judgment about good and evil, horror and pain and suffering, and by the same token, amazing, wonderful, superb things. Now, you as a human being, of course, you're designed to partake in those things, You're evolved and designed to suffer from pain and death and life and wonderful things and bad things and all that, yes. But what you can't do is then make that judgment about those ultimate things, because those ultimate things are reserved for the designer, God. So anyway, there are many more examples. One more thing before I forget. It is a problem in mass media in American society, and I have noticed this. Even, this is getting worse, I think, each year. And that is that when there is death or a catastrophe or something like that, because of the nature of the media, because they are highly, highly capitalistic and cutthroat, and they are looking to sell as many papers and website views and looking to gain as much popularity as they possibly can. Yes, what they do is look for the most controversial, catastrophic things, and they blast it to you and to everybody as much as they possibly can. They absolutely, absolutely do this. No media outlet, internet, TV, radio is objective in that way. Now, I'm not saying that they should go around looking for flowers and candy and lilies and talk about how wonderful everything is. I get it. News is, by its nature, supposed to tell you about the sort of outlier type things that are happening. Otherwise, it really wouldn't be news. It would be a report, But very much so, recently even more so, they've been even more sensational. That reminds me, when I open a web browser, just in the last few months or so, almost every time I open one, the headline is somebody that died. Basically, a celebrity obituary. So-and-so died. This person died. Every day, some new person that died. So obviously, whatever company's doing this, and these are big companies, MSN, Yahoo, and all the media outlets, they've concluded that, wow, it looks like news of death is getting a lot of attention. So we're going to push that out. There is no ethic in the media other than what law will allow them to do and what gets the most views. That's it. That's the media ethic. So here's the thing. Here's how it connects to this whole atheism thing. Is I've noticed that while they're doing that, while they're showing you the most sensational and catastrophic things, they're also at the same time automatically assuming that any and all death is a horrible, terrible thing. Even just the nonverbal. So even a reporter that comes on and talks about whatever death it happens to be will always become very morose and down and say, this just in, someone died here, something happened here that caused death, someone was shot, and so on and so on and so on. And it's almost like it's training people to do the exact opposite of what I've just said that you shouldn't do, which is to automatically assume that the tree of good and evil and you're eating from it, and death is the ultimate bad thing, and take a look at it, of course, right? Take a look at it and then feel down and negative, So it's wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't work. Morally wrong, but logically wrong. That's the main point. It's logically and rationally wrong. So, okay? So that's the death as the ultimate horror in the universe concept that goes along with the atheist's argument, which doesn't work. Okay?